Have you guys ever wondered what esports would look like in the United States? What esports would look like if it was mainstream? As in something that you could do straight out of like high school or mid-college? Well, that's essentially what we're trying to do. So, welcome back to the channel, All in One Gaming Generation. If you guys don't know me, my name is Chris, and I am the CEO of the Shindig, and we're just trying to make professional gamers and make it an actual thing in the United States. So today I wanted to talk about what could it be like, and this is kind of what do I think it can be like, and I hope you guys resonate with it, and I hope you guys can pretty much understand where I'm coming from. So I myself am a super competitive player. I strictly almost always play competitive games, but I do like my survival type of zombie games, Minecraft, things of that nature. But like, there's nothing that gets me more excited or more, I guess, addicted is something like Counter-Strike or Overwatch, League of Legends, things of that nature. Something that really like tests your skill. And I feel like at its core, esports should be highlighting the people with the best skill. We should be highlighting all players that essentially attempt, because through attempting and being good at something, you will ultimately become great at it if you try and progress long enough. So what do I mean by what can esports be in the United States? And my vision of how this should be is, one, open to everybody. I believe that everybody should have a fair shot, whether it's a solo esport or trading card game, because we also do trading card games here, but we're going to be talking mostly about esports in this video. And then I feel like it should be reasonable salaries, reasonable money that, you know, it's not outrageous. Like, you're not getting $1 billion for playing on an esports team and being the best at esports. I don't think that is reasonable, healthy, and or necessary. If someone could just make a reasonable wage, minimum class wage, playing esports, I think for the average gamer, the average person who just wants to sit in their room and play a game for a living, that is enough. Now, obviously, as you get better or you get on a team that is like highly esteemed or just cracked out like their mind, like, you should make a little bit more money than, you know, an average wage. But I hope that we can continue to build the system to be like, okay, if you go to a couple tournaments consistently and you're pretty average, pretty decent, or maybe a little bit over decent, and you win, get top 3 or top in any type of way, whatever the tournament structures are, and you can consistently do that, I feel like you should make a decent wage off of that. You know, we got people out here playing professional Excel. And if you guys don't know what professional Excel is, I highly suggest that you guys actually go look that up. And, you know, if they make spreadsheets, it's kind of like off gaming, but not really. But it's crazy that that's actually happening. There's people, you know, doing OnlyFans. And I mean, why can't like gamers get a piece of something like that? So what I mean by reasonable wage, again, something that you can actually live off of, pay your bills, and do a little bit extra. You shouldn't, you know, be struggling to pay your bills while doing esports. And, you know, from tournaments and things of that nature and just winning, and maybe some sponsorships and things of that nature, you know, that should be hopefully the backbone of your income being a professional player. And, you know, if you want to take it to the next level, maybe you make some content. I'm going to reference Wolf Glick here. I think he is just like excellent in showing how content can help you continue to play competitively. And if you guys don't know who Wolf Glick is, he plays competitive VGC. And, you know, I see the work that goes into it, and then his team and stuff in the back end that you guys don't see. They make it all happen and make it all look nice, and it pretty much allows him to keep playing competitively and doing the things that he wants to do. And I think that's amazing. And I feel like more people can do that. And with it being accessible to everybody in the United States, giving everybody a fair chance to show your skills and things of that nature, I think with the collective and support from a lot of people and a lot of other companies that aren't just like greedy and trying to squeeze every last dime out of you, I think this can happen. Reasonable wage sides. So again, I don't think people should be making billions and billions and billions, even millions sometimes, unless you're the best. I think it should be a reasonable wage for anybody that wants to do this and is pretty much good. So the next thing that I think of seeing, how does esports look like in the United States, is essentially having places where you can just walk in, find people, and continue to play and build relationships and maybe join a team, or either if we're playing solo, you can compete there every week, and they'll probably host like some monthlies, quarterlies, or bigger tournaments that offer bigger prize pools and higher stakes and things of that nature. But I kind of take this from the card game and the hobby shops, because I mean, the TCG side, the competitive side, they kind of got it down packed. Now, there are some games that have fallen off with their competitive scenes, and or just like completely don't do their competitive scenes correctly because they care more about collectors than the actual like game anymore. And if you guys have a hint of what I'm talking about, type it in the comments, and I'll thumbs it up if it's correct on what I was talking about in this video. It's a TCG, very big TCG. We all know it. So if you make that right guess, you get a like from me. So it's a very honorable like, by the way. So yeah, I feel like there should be places that everybody in your area should have to go to at least get you started. And whether that's in your high school, that's where you started, and maybe your parents collect your tournament check because you're underage and, you know, laws and things of that nature. Laws. Or maybe you're just getting out of high school, you're 18 or something like that. You can go to a hobby shop or an esports center and start practicing, start competing, finding your friends, finding a team, getting in contact with people, finding other people, and ultimately finding just a community that wants to continue to help you thrive. And I do think there has to be one broad system, maybe one governing system. I hope that, you know, we're the governing system, because I feel like we can do this. And my vision for this has been brewing for a long time, so I think there will have to be one governing thing, because if there's like 10 or 15 different like big esports organizations that run competitive scenes and series, premieres, tours, it's going to get a little bit confusing for the average person that wants to get into esports. And as we've seen with the progression of like games being made simpler, and game developers moving away from more complex things or in like game design, that just like goes to show like not even a trend in like gaming itself, but a trend in just how people want their life to be. They want it to be more simple. So I think a simple system that just says, hey, if you do this one thing and have a clear path to progress, obviously still based on skill. I don't ever want to just give handouts. Sorry, you're not going to get that from me. You're going to show me why you're good, and you know, if you're good enough, you should get the reward. But yeah, I think the system needs to be simple, and I think it needs to be consolidated, if not with one person, with only a few people that are like really committed to allowing the player to grow, giving a space for the players, and really have to be focused on the players. Like, we need humble servants, selfless servants that are willing to go to mile to essentially give these players their dream and a living in it. So that's my take on the system that I think is needed. And I think through the system, you know, unless we get some bad actors, which, you know, it's expected, but I hope that we can stay at the forefront and be a guiding light for anybody else who wants to attempt to be a bad actor. I don't know. I'll just call like the police or something. I don't know what I would do in that situation, but we're not there yet. But yeah, I would hope that there's no bad actors, but that's asking for a lot in a broken world. And yeah, simple, concise. These are the people you go to, but you can go to any place around the world or any esports center, any hobby shop to get started, essentially. And then with the publishers, I feel like the publishers will have to be open to letting people into their esports scene or supporting other esports scenes out there to allow it to grow. The cool thing that TCGs do is, you know, when we run tournaments here, the things that bring out people for tournaments is promos or essentially a path to get to nationals, finals, worlds, whatever it is. And when I was playing competitively, I was mostly coming out for those promos because those promos made my deck better, and those promos essentially gave me a better shot at winning when I do go to nationals or worlds or things of that nature. And for esports, a little bit different. You can't give a competitive advantage in a game like that because that's just how the game is. It would make it a little bit too unfair. But maybe we just give some memorabilia, some accessories, something that has like some value for especially like people, you know, competitive people do collect things too. So maybe, you know, for like League or something like that, you go into a store, you get like a figure. If you get like top 3 or something like that, and the figure, you can sell it on the second market for a good amount of dollars, or you just keep it to show that like you got top in something. I remember I used to do that a lot with some of my promo cards that would have like top 32, top 16, things of that nature. I'd keep those. I didn't want to sell those because that showed that I like actually like really tried, and I accomplished this essentially. So yeah, I think there needs to be a little bit more support from the developers, but I don't suspect the developers to support anything that isn't established and the majority of the United States or a region is using, essentially. So I think that will come later down the line, and we'll work on that. We're going to work on that. That's a part of the plan. So, and I will say, it will be a little bit scary too. I think this is the one downside of esports is, you know, a player, which I think this will always happen, but a player will get something really good or get really good at a game, such as, let's call it Counter-Strike. Or, no, let's go at League. I don't know. Yeah, let's go at League. So, yeah. Let's say somebody gets good at League, and, you know, they've been playing League for years. They're Challenger, top 100. And they're playing in esports tournaments. Their whole team is winning and things of that nature. And for some reason, I don't know, Riot, Tencent, they get hit with a lawsuit. And they have to close down League of Legends, or they just decide League is no longer profitable. And, you know, what is any good company going to do when something's not profitable? They're going to cut it. And all those players that put hard work and dedication into the game, you know, they suddenly just have to stop. Or move on to a game or have a backup plan. And that's the sad reality of esports. And even with card games too. It's a sad reality for that too. Those are things that you just can't control. But I would hope that esports would bring a little bit more interest in those games to where that possibility becomes less likely. But, you know, I still foresee that's going to happen. And I don't know the future or anything. Anyone that says they know the future is obviously don't know what they're talking about. So you can say that I don't know what I'm talking about, because half the time I don't. But here I am talking to you guys today. But yeah, I think that's the downside of esports is your game could just be gone in seconds. And I think for an org, it's a little bit easier because you're going to have teams on different types of games, different publishers, and if one goes down, you do have another game. But if you're that solo player that is doing it all solo, or you're like a free agent, you're not really tied to an org or something like that, it's going to be a little bit hard for you, and you're going to have to be, and for those players, you're going to have to be a little bit more disciplined in your finances and your plan, and really hedging your risk essentially on, you know, what you're doing. Or maybe you might be in the background on your off time playing a different game, getting a little bit better at it. Maybe not the best, but you know, you're working at it, you're playing it. So to recap, I don't want to make this video a little bit too long, which I'll make more videos like this also, but to recap, I think esports needs to be accessible to everybody, whether it's in school or out of school. You can just walk up to a hobby shop or an esports center and start playing a tournament, start winning money and things of that nature, and you have a path to whatever system or org is running the biggest circuits, and you have a real shot. You know, you don't have to know nobody, you don't have to like please anybody, you just have to show up and be good essentially, and just show that you can beat everybody else, and then you should have, you know, a real shot at making a living. And then again, I think the wages that a player gets paid, I think it should be bare minimum. If you're on an org, something sustainable, something a middle class wage or anything like that, and only if you are the best of the best or your org is doing super very well, you can get paid a little bit more. But the org should be running as lean businesses and treating their players correctly. And if you're just by yourself, then I hope that you can continue to compete and either get on teams, on and off, hop on and off teams and make a living like that. So again, I don't think people need to make billions and stuff like that unless you're really the best and people really like you and you're just an amazing player, an amazing person, then maybe yes. And then thirdly, I think the system needs to be congregated in one, if not only a few organizations that are really dedicated to the cause. Because if we have small little organizations that are just like trying things and then they give up like halfway through, and then that whole like player base of people that you congregated or like players that you guys had for your tournaments and things of that nature just like stop, it kind of puts a bad taste in esports essentially, and you know, not making it less reliable for someone to actually put their time and effort to it, because we have to respect the players' time and effort, and you know, for us, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that as best as we can. You know, no promises, but we're gonna try our best. So those are some of my quick thoughts on what I think esports can be in the United States. I hope that we can get closer to what it is over in the Asian and all those countries over there. I don't know how long that will take, but you know, with the support from you guys or anybody else that wants to support us as we keep growing, I hope to see this, you know, work out. So if you guys are interested in supporting us, links are in the description. If you're a player, we have coaching. If you're a TCG player, we'll sell some cards and things of that nature for you. Hopefully we have the inventory that you need, or the cards that you need for your decks and or next regionals. And if you're looking for tournaments and events and things of that nature, we also are building that up. So come join us there as well. And if you just want to talk esports and discussions, come join our Discord. So I will leave you guys with that. In the Bible it says, essentially, I'm not quoting it word for word. I should probably bring the actual word from word on here, but I don't have it on me right now, but I have it in my mind a little bit. The Lord says, someone who take cares of little, when we're talking about wealth or things of that nature, will be entrusted with greater wealth, essentially. And this goes on to my point about like the wages for esports players. and organizations, if we can grow your little pot of money or your little earnings to make this actually like worth it, down the line you're going to have greater and greater, and you're going to take a bigger appreciation to what you have at that point in time in your life when you do have more, and really take more appreciation for the kind of like struggle time where you didn't have a lot and it was just enough. So yeah, let's all be stewards of what we're doing and being smart about our decisions, especially when it does come to esports and what we're trying to do. So hopefully, I felt like I was rambling there at the end, but you know, I do want to always let you guys know that God is there for you, and you know, we're gonna spread that because it brings you peace in your life, and I do believe it's really good for you. And you know, if we have a little bit of this in esports, then it can only be good. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, if you want to click the links in the bio, feel free to. And yeah, come support us. And we're trying to make esports players, TCG players, competitive gamers, all these good things. Come join us, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. I don't know what the next title is or next video is gonna be, but if you guys stay until this long, say Chief in the comments, so I know you're a real one and you stayed till the end. So enjoy the rest of the day, enjoy the rest of the week. If you're on another planet, enjoy whatever time zone you're in, and I'll see you in the next video.